And now for something a little bit different. What happens when you take a drawn digital art style and mix it with a pixel art style? Well, today, we're going to answer that question. Recently, I've been playing Streets of Rage 4 and I really love the character, Cherry Hunter. She's new to the franchise, but she fits in so well, so perfectly. And I just really want to draw that character right now. So, that's who I'm going to draw. I'm using a program called DAZ3D for the pose, then I took a screenshot of it, put it on the right hand side of the screen, and we're doing the gesture pose on the left. I try not to worry too much about major details at this point, just getting a rough idea of where everything falls. It's still going to be anatomically correct, but I'm not too worried about little bits like the eyes or the face or the nose or the mouth, but I do at least want to put indications of where they should sit in that sketch. With a red pencil, I draw in the expression, the clothes, objects, while keeping things still fairly loose. We're not trying to commit to anything just yet. And then I'm going to do this step once more with a slightly darker pencil when I feel like I've got a really good idea of what's going on here. As a little side note, I've added in a guitar holding arm, as things didn't feel very balanced when I started to add in the guitar without this. The arm doesn't use a reference, it's just me feeling things out as we go along. I really love the way the G pen looks. It's got a nice thick to thin line, you can exaggerate it like I've done here, and although I'm drawing things in an angular sense, you'll see that I'm at least keeping some curves in. I don't want to kill the flow of the drawing, that's not the point. Also, as a side note, I highly recommend turning anti-aliasing off on a brush. Lines deserve to look pretty clean, and I don't think anti-aliasing really does line art any favours. It seems to just blur things and make everything look a bit muddy, and I like my lines to be nice, clean, and crisp. So I'm not a fan of using the eyedropper tool. Whenever I'm choosing colours, even if it's a bit trial and error, I will handpick each and every one. Some people use the eyedropper and I will warn against that. There's a few different reasons. The main one is that sometimes you'll find the same image twice, but depending on who uploaded it, the colour values might be a little bit different. Now you can go to the original source as well, but the other problem is that it's based on the style of that drawing. Those colours chosen fit that drawing because that's the drawing. It's harmonious with that particular picture. So when you're making your own piece, it's better to pick the colours that match that picture. Feel it out. Okay, and now comes the bit where I genuinely am a little bit nervous. The lines don't really translate when it comes to this pixel art step. So I've imported it into a lower resolution, but I'm also very much aware that the reverse is going to be the same, or at least it most likely will be anyway. So I'm going to try and put these words to the back of my head and just follow through with what I would do if I was making pixel art, and then just carry it over and see what needs doing. As you can see here, things are a little bit on the messy side, and so I'm going to need to clean this up. I'm not going to record the whole of this process. You can kind of see what's going to happen here. A lot of zooming in and changing really minute things. So we're just going to skip to the next bit and see how things look. You know, I'm genuinely not sure of what I think about this drawing. I think it works in certain places, and in other places, not so much. But at the same time, I feel like we've come this far, we need to finish this off. So I'm going to make a similar kind of background to what was in the reference image. Not exactly the same, just change it up a little bit here and see where we go from there. I've gone with the banner effect, and then for the red background, to make it a bit more interesting, I got two almost mosaic tile red pixel art effects that I made, one in a lower resolution than the other, and overlap them. And this just makes the background interesting, but it doesn't take away from the character. And then just to make sure the character just popped out a little bit more, not too much, I gave her an orange border and added a very, very mild gradient to it. And I think with that we can call this done. So here we are. I've got mixed emotions about this piece. There are bits where you can see the pixel art that's shading it in, and I really love those parts. So those parts are like the hair and the dithering on the guitar, but not so much on the guitar neck. And I like some of the highlights, and I love the electrical effect. But then the other places, although it's not entirely the case, look more like I've tried to shade them in and not really smooth them out. So this is very hit and miss. But I have learned a lot by doing this. I've really had a lot of fun making this, and I do love the way it looks overall for the most part. So this was a really, really fun learning experience, and I really do thank you for checking this out, and let me know what you think, and if you have anything to say about it all, anything you liked or maybe you think didn't work so well, or maybe if you think something could be done differently, let me know. And until then, have a nice one.